Just wanted to confirm. Please let me know that you can hear me. Just opening up a couple of these things here. You should be able to see me okay, hear me okay. Just wanted to verify it. If you don't mind, let's go ahead and just move this down a little bit. Okay, I'm not seeing anybody confirm it in the chat, but there's also a bit of a slight delay anyway, so I'm just gonna keep going forward because I do see my software here showing me that everything is okay. Before we get started, I'm just gonna go ahead and read the disclaimer that we usually do, which is that the following videos, clips, and demonstrations are for educational and instructional purposes only. TRADDICTIV provides these videos purely for the purpose of demonstrating a method of using the product. Users understand that all content used in the video is purely for demonstration purposes only and is not a guide and does not provide any indication or prediction of actual results. As a user, you understand and agree that hypothetical results obtained through the demonstration do not indicate in any way the results you may receive on using our product. Guys, if you don't mind, just want to make sure that you can hear me okay. Please confirm it in the chat, in the YouTube chat, before we get any further. Just want to make sure. Yep, I see everything's okay here on my end, so I'm gonna go ahead and keep going forward. I'm looking at the setup here. Everything's looking good. So, all right, let's go ahead and open up our TradeStation. Here we go. Okay, just gonna keep that rolling there. All right. Yep, I see. Yeah, I see everything's going okay here. So let's go ahead and open up our chat here. There we go. Okay. All right, folks. So let's go ahead and take a look at some of this. As you know, today is Monday, December 21st. Today is, basically essentially these next couple of weeks are pretty short weeks. Where we're doing, mostly focusing on holidays and. Just getting together with the family and so on. So trading is usually, especially volume-wise, it's a bit lighter around these times. But, given that this year has been the year that it has been, a lot more people are spending the holidays either, by themselves or traveling a lot less. So, therefore, they're staying at home. And, thus some of these markets are actually moving quite a bit. And quite nicely, as you can see, crude oil is down, 3.7% for the day. The Nasdaq 1.5%. I believe the ES was a little less, but now it looks like it's leading towards the downside. So, what are we going to do? Well, as you know, our job here in the channel is to make sure that we follow our process properly, that we follow our plan accordingly, and so. As you may know, or if this is your first time coming here, we trade using a permission-based system, which I believe is the best kind of system to have, meaning unless you have a permission to do something, you basically don't do anything. And if that's something that, you don't like or you don't think is beneficial to you, then, by all means, feel free to give other things a try. But I can tell you from a personal standpoint here, it's fairly easy to backtest a permission-based system. It is near impossible to backtest a gut feeling system. So, just a little something on my end, guys. If you don't mind, could you please just confirm that everything's going okay on the chat box? I'm not seeing anybody here. I just want to make sure that my chat box is working properly. Seems to be. So yeah, if you guys don't mind, just say hello or good morning, good afternoon, wherever you may be, just so I know that the chat is working okay. I am not seeing anything so far. Just checking here. There we go. Sound okay. It just popped up. That's so strange. I just saw Tony, Joe, Marie, and Milan. Thank you guys. Thank you very much for confirming. All right, now that I know everything's working, I want to make sure that I don't miss anything. And one of the advantages of doing these YouTube sessions is the fact that it allows for this chat to kind of open up any topics of conversation. So without much further ado, let's go ahead and take a look at what we have going on here. And as you see, we're looking at these time frames, 15-minute, the 60-minute, and the 240-minute, right? So we're mainly focusing on this window, this portion of the workspace here, right? Because we are doing futures today. We're doing futures now. The first thing that we need to look at and see is, do we have a permission to even open a workspace? And the way we determine that is by looking at these climates. We're looking at the 50-minute climate. We see that we have a near sensible short on a confirmed climate, meaning that the climate is telling us, hey, it's time to look for opportunities to the downside. You're okay, you're allowed to open this workspace. Another one that we also look at is the fact that, if something is a sensible climate, it doesn't necessarily need to be near, right? We can plan ahead. We can look as a sensible long and a confirmed climate and say to ourselves, okay, I can open this workspace, meaning there's no real hurry to open this workspace, but I am allowed to open this workspace because it is a sensible long and it is confirmed, right? We can do a check mark there and a check mark here, so we're good to go. So let's go ahead and open up those two workspaces right now. We're going to open gold and we're going to open the Dow. So let's go ahead and open up GC on the 15-minute and YM on the 15-minute. We're going to open them up. Okay, perfect. Yep. Good stuff. Yeah, I'm glad to see that everything, the sound-wise, everything sound-wise is good. Okay. Let's get these workspaces open. I just did a fresh install on my TradeStation here, so everything should be working a lot smoother. I was actually having some issues last week. YMH21. And the reason why I already know the ticker symbol is because, right, this is the most current tradable symbol for the Dow, the YMH, the March 21st contract. It's already rolled over. Gold, however, switches around a lot of times. So what we're going to do is I'm just going to go to trading and I'm going to open up a bar chart right here. And I'm going to take a look and see where gold is on which contract. I believe it's also on the February. So GCG21. Okay, so that's how I know. We trade the front month contract, which is the 191,000 volume for today. So GCG21, GCG21. There we go. Okay, so there we are. Now, the one that was near sensible and it looks like it's at the beginning of the climate was gold. So we're going to look at that one first, right? The Dow is kind of far from its moving average. So we're going to look at gold first. All right, let's see what we got here. So on the, as you may or may not know, I see a lot of familiar names and everybody on here, but for those of you that may be watching this recorded, so these three workspaces up here, right? These three workspaces we call our edge timeframes, right? These three timeframes, because I see a lot of these questions come up in emails and even at the TradewithUFos/Bojan link. A lot of questions come about these, and the advantage of having these edge time frames is so they give us an edge, right? They're not mistakenly named so, but as you see, these are not your common time frames. Right? These are not time frames that you normally see in most platforms, right? You typically have to request your platform, like typing in what you want to see. That you want to see the 2-minute, the 610, and the 377 tick bar, right? The common time frame is our time frame that we expect not just the rest of the world, but a lot of traders out there to kind of be aware of. And that is why we use the 15-minute common time frame as our guideline to say, hey, listen, look in these directions, right? The edge gives us the edge on entry and exits, but we still need to flow with the rest of the market. And the way we do that, the way we enable that flow, the way we go with the flow is by utilizing common time frames such as the 50-minute, the 60-minute, the 240-minute, right? I don't believe a platform exists out there in the world that does not have those three time frames. So that is why we utilize these time frames differently, right? The top ones give us the entry points and the exit points. Rather, actually, mostly the entry points and the convergence between these three time frames and this time frame is how we tie into, right? We tie into these three time frames. We tie them into the moving average, right? So that's how we get these entry points. We get them tied, right? We see it's 1884.4. We look for a UFO around that area and say, okay, that's my entry point. And that's how we tie our edge time frames into our common time frame down below. All right, so let's go ahead and get this looked at. It looks like we might have a trade here in front of us. We see that the moving average, I'm just going to freeze my screen, is 18.4.8. Obviously, it was 0.4 below, right, because it moves. And that will fall directly into this UFO. Now, something that I want to do a full disclaimer on here, right? The bottom of this UFO, oops, I haven't enabled that, 1884.3, right? As you can see here, it's kind of dark, I understand. It's 1884.3, so that's the bottom of this UFO. So if we were to take this trade, our setup would be down, our entry would be down here, 1884.3. Now, something else that I want to bring to your attention is the following. Oops, TradingView. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and open up a chart on the same thing, GCG21. And the beauty about having your TradeStation connected with your TradeStation demo account or live account connected with TradingView is that as you place the order here, it's going to show up here as well. The reason why I like the order entry better on TradingView is because it actually gives you the risk to reward that you're going to be having, right? So given the fact that this is moving kind of slow, before I get into that, I just want to double check something here, which is I want to check my studies to make sure that my auto UFOs are on. All right, and we're just going to go ahead and enable them. Okay, because why do we do that? We do that so we determine what is the final destination of our trade. And as we see here, the first opposing UFO, meaning since we're going short, right, we're looking at a confirmed down climate. We're looking at this being our entry, this up here being our stop. The first one, the first T1 being somewhere around here, right? Those are the initial parameters of this trade. But before we have a permission to execute that trade, we need to make sure that our risk to reward ratio is there. I'm sorry, let me just take a quick sip of water. And the way we determine that risk to reward ratio is by looking and seeing how far is current price from its first opposing UFO on the common time frame that we're using. Right, so we still want to get out before a location where a lot of opposing orders may be at. So as we see right here in this particular scenario, the beginning price is 1852.9. So 1852.9. I'm just gonna go ahead and put a text there. So 1852. Oops, should be 1852.9 should be our T2. So that means it's quite further away, so that's fine. We're just going to keep that there just for record keeping, right? So we said our entry is at 1884.3. All right, so we're going to do a sell. We're going to do two contracts, 1884.3. All right, we're going to do a take profit and a stop loss. Okay, and we're going to have our stop a tick above this UFO. That's our entry UFO. So our stop is going to be 1889.1. All right. There we go. We actually just had an update. Not a whole lot has changed. Second out of typically 4. Still okay to enter in this trade. So let's go ahead and, so 1884.3. We're doing 2 units, right? So looking at 1889.1, I forget how to disable this so it doesn't keep changing it on me. 1884.3 is our stop. 18. So we're risking, this will result in $480 per contract of risk. Okay, 960 for the whole trade. So this isn't something that I would normally do on this setup, right? A $3 stop on gold, right, results in quite a bit of the excessive risk here. However, you know, obviously the trade can work. What we can do is, instead of executing on the GCG21, we can simply execute on the MGCG21. I'm like, what the heck? There we go. So we can execute on the micros. And on the micros, we can do the same thing that we were going to do, is 1884.3. We're going to do 2 contracts. And we're going to do a take profit and a stop loss at 89.1. This, again, needs to stay on absolute. There we go. Same thing on the take profit. That's a 1-to-1, right? So that would be, we're going to sell just one right now, the first one. And we're going to go ahead and place that. Send that order in. There it is. Now we're going to do the same thing. 1884.3. We're going to take profit at 1852.9. That's quite a bit a ways away. And the stop loss is going to remain the same. Okay. Still can't figure out how to make this to stop moving on me. So there we go. So we're looking at selling at 1884.3, stop loss 1889.1. The take profit is 1852.9. We can be a tick above it. That's fine. Okay, and there it is. So our setup is placed. Now, if you wanted to take a look at this exact setup right here, you see it on TradingView. If you wanted to see it exactly on here as well, all you would have to do is just type the MGCG21. MGCG21. Okay, was it a different one? I forget what it was on here. Hold on. Yeah. I forget that they actually have a different way that they have it written in here. I think it's like MZ something on here. Okay, well, needless to say, it's definitely on here. You can see that in the orders bar. However, for some reason it's not popping up, and because I had all of my reset, it's not really giving me the option to do it. GCG21. There we go. So what I'm going to do right now, though, is I'm just going to put a horizontal line here, just so we know that, hey, you know, this is our entry point, right? 43. So just gonna edit that real quick, make it a little thicker. So 1884.3. It's a good chance. There we go. And you heard the order fill on our end. So we're in this trade. Now, you know, comes basically my favorite part when it's in regards to these trades, which is the trading management. Hey, good morning, Anil. How you doing? So a couple of things that come into mind and come into play when it comes to executing these trades, right? So first of all, as you see here, we have these 2 horizontal lines, which I'm just going to do it on here as well, right? So what we want to do is within 3 candles of a 2-minute time frame, which we need to reset this to 2 minutes. So that's why I'm like, wait a minute, that doesn't sound right. Right, so our execution, our candle is the one right here. So we got 1, 2, 3, and depending on what instrument you trade or how you like your trading, you know, you can always adjust this to 5 or whatever you feel more comfortable with. I've done quite a bit of back testing on my end, and 3 candles works fine with me. So what I'm going to do is, you know, if I do not get to this T1, right, within this, I typically color it magenta, actually. if within this magenta rectangle I do not get my T1, I will simply close this trade at market. Whether it's a big winner, a big loser, you know, whether it's kind of dilly-dallying here in the middle, you know, it's doing this, I'm okay with that, right? If I close it there, I'm okay with it. If I close it here, I'm okay with it. You know, as long as it's, you know, if it doesn't reach it within this rectangle, meaning as soon as this one candle here starts printing, I am closing this at market. So that is the, you know, an additional kind of a, well, not an additional, that's per our plan. So if you follow our plan to the point where, you know, you've reviewed all the YouTube videos we've done about it, or you've taken one of the classes that comes in the channel, you'll know that this is the way that we manage these trades. Obviously, you know, if it's something that you don't feel comfortable with, maybe you want to give the trade a little bit more time to breathe, you can certainly do that. I would say just back test. Don't just decide, well, you know what, I think it's getting me out of too many winners too quickly. Believe me when I tell you, I was of the same opinion early on. And then I said, you know what, I'm just going to keep track every time I get time stopped, or every time I have to close a trade due to a time stop, right? That's a time stop. I'm going to keep track and see what would have happened had I not taken the time stop. And quite a bit more often than not, it was actually basically it was preventing me from taking full stop outs. And not only that, but some of those trades were actually small winners as opposed to full stop losses, right? So how nice is it gonna feel if, let's say, right, this trade is obviously not moving to our direction. There's a good chance that it'll stop against us. It still has time that it could just, you know, speed on down, but there's a good chance that this might be a time stop. So how nice would it be to say, okay, well, instead of losing, you know, $960, I lost $100. Or even better, how nice would it be if, you know, you were risking $960 like we're risking here if you would take it with the regular contract, and ended up making like maybe 50 or $100, right? I mean, psychologically, that will do wonders for you, okay? So we still have a few more minutes here. 11:24 is when that last candle is going to print, which is in about 50 seconds or so. I'm just going to go ahead and take a look at the Dow just to see if anything close by has developed, and it looks like it has. However, this is at 810. Price is trying to get to 30,000 Dow. My God, guys, these are some incredible times. You see, 29,956 is where it reached today, and it hasn't gone past it. But you know, Dow 30,000 is something something a little bit of worth of a joke, if not. Anyways, let's go ahead and go back to our. So here we go. We're starting to see some green here, which is fine. It's still kind of dilly-dallying there. I mean, what you expect to happen when you take these trades is you expect, when so many things are working in your favor, price to quickly move down to your T1, right? Because this is just a 1-to-1. So when you're risking a 1-to-1, that's you know, that should be hit fairly often, right? You need to get that hit. Joe, I'm not getting the same UFO readings on 377 GC tick bar. How if you take a look at this on the 377 tick bar, I'm going back 89 bars on TradeStation. On TradingView, obviously, that's not going to matter because TradingView, you know, does the processing power in the back of it. But something else that comes to mind is the fact, you know, what is your calibration setting set to, right? Because mine is set to 618, which is a fib number. If you have this set to 0.50, which is, again, it's fine. You can check that out yourself. You're going to have slightly different UFOs because the sensitivity that this detects unfilled orders is different. So take a look at that and let me know, Joe, while we're here on the chat. All right, I believe we're gonna be reaching that point. Here we go. We got another 30 seconds. You know, come on, gold. give us a small winner as opposed to a loss here in the next few seconds. I'm not gonna wait for it to turn green. You know, we got 20 more seconds. I'm just gonna take a sip of water. Before I click this close position. Looks like gold is gonna take us in the negative for a little bit. There we go. So we're gonna go ahead and close this. We close that. That's that. Interestingly enough, it says closed P&L is 17, which would equate to $170. So that's quite the slippage considering it was only on TradingView. It was only showing like -8 or so. So how did I get to double is beyond me. Maybe that was just a one contract. So anyways, we're out of that trade. So far we're looking at it. It's, you know, quite okay. You can disregard this down here because obviously the 2-minute climate doesn't get the climate attached to it. Only the 15-minute does. And as you see right now, it's currently trading above the moving average. So there's a good chance that this might either reverse or, you know, we might have just gotten stopped out. And if we have a new UFO develop, right? If let's say a new UFO formed, let's say it dropped like a rock from here, which would suck because we were in this, but it's okay. That's life, that's trading. A new UFO were to form here, technically this is still an okay trade. We already have our T2 where we know there's nothing impeding this space in between. So we could potentially re-enter this if a new UFO were to form. Okay, looking at the Dow Jones. All right, we're looking at a confirmed climate, second candle up out of typically 6, which is great. That means we're not late to the party. Looking at it right now, 29,809 being the moving average. That's within this UFO here. 809 is in the white space here. And 809 is below this one here, right? It's about here somewhere. There's no UFO there, but this UFO will work. So let's go ahead and set it up. 29,822 to 29,785, right? So we're gonna open up YM 21. So, and then obviously for this one, we already see that there's UFOs close by. So that UFO here is at 29,967. So 29,967. So T2 is at 29,967. Okay. And the top of the UFO, I think, is this exact. Oh, shit. Let's reload that data real quick because I ended up moving it. So this starts at 29,823. So a tick above what's showing there. So we're gonna do a buy at 29,893. We're gonna do a take profit and a stop loss. We're gonna put our price down here at 29,784. It's 109 pips. Wow, that's a did not look that big over here, huh? That's also, you know, quite the risky proposition here. These are big wide UFOs, which honestly didn't look that big, but now that when you put the numbers in, you see that, you know, wow, this is not a joke. It's a pretty big UFO. And so yeah, this is also something that we're gonna have to take on the micros, obviously, because, you know, risking 545 per trade is not something that I want you to do, nor am I going to do. So let's go ahead and look that up real quick. We're gonna put this buy in. We're gonna put it at 29,823. We're gonna put the take profits and stop losses the same way as we did. Actually, this is gonna need to be at 29,784. Did I do that wrong? No, it says 195. Maybe I did that wrong. Sometimes regular math never fails. 822 minus 785. Okay, what the heck? So 822 minus 785. That's 37. So that's 185 bucks. That's I must have typed something wrong. That's why I was very surprised when I saw it. I'm like, how the heck is that 595? Anyways, sorry guys. Sometimes you make some of these mistakes and then you kind of surprise yourself and think, hey, you know, what the heck happened here? It did not look that like that big of a risk there. Okay. So we're looking at 29,784, 39 pips. There we go. The take profit is also going to be 39 pips. So we're going to go ahead and buy that one. Send that order in. And let me just make sure that I attached them properly. Yes, I did. Okay. Yeah, just making sure. Okay. We're going to go ahead and place the other leg of the trade, which, as we said, is down here at 29. Now I'm just going to change this text. As I said, I just did a fresh install on TradeStation because it was giving me a bit of trouble. So unfortunately, I lost most of my settings here. There we go. So we're going to go ahead and place that. We said we're entering at 29,823. We're going to do take profit. So our stop loss is again going to be the same, 29,784. Now our final target is going to be at 29,967. All right, so that's a 4.1 there. Okay, 823, all looking good. Send that order in. There we go. We're all set. We see that the two stop losses are there, that the two orders of 29.23 are there. First T1 is right here at 29.862, and then the final target right before this collection of UFOs up here at 29.967, as we see down here in our chart window. Okay. Joe, for our edge timeframes, I typically always have them set default to 89 bars back, mainly because obviously these are edge timeframes, right? We don't care too much about what happened in the past. We care about what's happening in this recent ongoings of this chart, so we can capture the most recent and most current movement of that market. So yeah. As far as the 15-minute time frame, though, the 15-minute time frame one, we go 500 back. Okay, so that one we do want it to kind of give us a little bit more of a glimpse in the future. If there are no UFOs nearby that you could see, you're actually allowed to load even more data to make sure you're not, you know, putting a trail stop trade as opposed to, you know, having your target set to an exact point. Okay. So that's something that you should be aware of. All right, gold's not doing a whole lot, so I'm just going to go ahead and save this workspace and close it. Let's take a look. Here we go. We got crude oil is also giving us a near sensible short with a confirmed climate. That means we do have permission to open up crude oil on the 15-minute time frame. Okay. And let me know how's it going so far, guys. You know, we're pretty much more than halfway through the session today. So do you lose UFO setups by going back 89? No, it's really just for processing power, Joe. You don't want your system to lock up, is really what that's for. So. And you know that it's that's why I'm saying if you really wanna CLG21 at CLG21. Okay, what is open on TradeStation that is giving me that? Okay, at CLG21. Okay, so crude oil was giving us a near sensible short, right? Yeah, near sensible short, 0.4 ATRs away. Unfortunately, we just have absolutely no UFOs here, right? We have absolutely nothing. 32 is the moving average. However, as you see here, unfortunately, it is simply nothing is nearby that area. Yeah. So there's nothing there. There might have been something there, and as you see this wick here, just gonna zoom in a little bit. As you see this wick that started from here to here, if there was a UFO, a red UFO here, there's a good chance that because of this wick, it just got completely filled, and now it's gone. So that doesn't mean that no new UFO can form, but we should just keep an eye on it. For right now, we're just gonna have to keep it open and leave it as is. All right, the Dow is doing what it's doing. It's quite far away, right? And it looks like we're actually gonna be in the middle of these two UFOs at 29,823, which is really good. That's just additional odds in our favor. And that is because we actually had an update to the climate. So that's why I'm thinking, wait a minute, these didn't work before. I remember, putting up here that, they're missing it. But the reason why they work is because the moving average is at now 29,826. Obviously, if price were to tank down, this moving average is going to move. So it should still be within this UFO here. So we're not going to move it, but it's nice to see that we have some additional unfilled orders coming into our favor should this trade trigger. Okay, I'm also going to open the 60-minute crude oil chart because it looks like it's not. There's nothing here. Okay, just hunting for opportunities, guys. This is just the way the cookie crumbles. Nothing else to do here but keep searching. Okay, and we're going to go ahead and open at CLG21. There we go. Okay. So now we have a bit of a, longer. Wait a minute, what's going on here? There it is. Now this is a bit of a larger time frame, right? So we're looking at the 60-minute time frame on the common time frame, and it has just confirmed itself in the past hour as a confirmed down climate. So that's great for us, right? That means it's the beginning of a climate. We're not at the end of it, which is really good. What we need to be aware of is the fact that we do have a UFO right here. So typically speaking, these larger time frame UFOs, you do want opposing UFOs to be a little further out. So this one is at 4673. All right, so let's go ahead and put that text in there. So T2 is at 4673. All right, now looking at, and really you should always be in the habit of just finding where the potential final targets are before you even get into looking at anything else. I believe if you do follow the chart that we have on the website, the flow chart, it does show you, the step-by-step procedure of everything that I'm doing. So definitely do follow that. Okay, looking at this, 47.23 being the moving, the current price, 47.39 being the moving average on the 60-minute time frame. As we see, that falls well within this UFO here, but it also is going to encompass this one because the stops are going to be the same. So they're going to be at 47.52. So our stop, our entry is going to be, let's just go with a little bit more aggressive one, which is 47.31. As you see, that's the more aggressive one because obviously this one, let's see where this one starts before. Before I say it's the more aggressive one, let's see where it starts. So this one starts at 47.39, which is actually coinciding right with the moving average. So you know what? I'm not going to be that aggressive because obviously it's a pretty volatile day on crude oil. It's already down 4%. So I'm going to go ahead and stay with a little bit more conservative instead of the more aggressive one. So 47.39 is my entry point, which coincides with the moving average. Obviously, if it were to push up, it's going to move it up a little bit, which is fine. It'll still be within the UFO. So, making sure everything is set properly, we're going to go ahead and change the final price target to 46.73. Okay, replace. And that's basically it. So we're looking at essentially 14 ticks. That's $280 for the 2 contracts that we're trading here. Just want to make sure that everything's good here. Minus 14. That should actually be down here at the 25 mark, if I'm not mistaken, right? That's why it's always so nice to do this with TradingView as opposed to TradeStation, just because it gives you a clearer picture, right? We're risking 14 ticks, so 39 minus 14 is 25. Yep, now it's good. All right. Something that I actually forgot to do on the last trade that we did before is actually take a screenshot of our setups, right? I mean, documentation is key, guys. So what we got to do is take a screenshot of this and call this what it is. So CL60 setup. Okay. I'm also going to do the same thing with my Dow Jones setup, right? The YM. Take a screenshot of that. Save that. 2020, 1221, YM 15 setup. So that way, when I go back in time, let's say for some reason I forget these trades on, and in the future I go in or I hear on my phone or something, order filled. I'm like, what the heck did I get filled on now? So then if you have this documentation, you're going to say, okay, I know why I had my trade here. I know my setup, if it was valid or not. I'm going to log it. I'm going to document it. As the trade develops, I'm going to manage it accordingly because, we do active management here. We don't just let the trade run, right? We let it run to its designated destination, which is an opposing UFO, or we just trail it as per our plan and guidelines. And if you really want to get to the exact bottom line of those, please do feel free to check out the courses that we do have, because I feel like you do get the snippets of information that we go through on each of these trades here on the YouTube channel. But I think it's incredibly important to also go through the exact basically course that you would see and have presented to you, so that way it's easier to understand. Okay, guys, we're basically almost done with the session here. If you don't mind, just clicking if you liked what you saw, clicking a like on the video. This definitely helps out the channel, get the word out there, and also subscribe and then click that little bell notification so you can get notified every time we go live. If you were to go to tradewithufos.com, and you're going to see on the top left live get-togethers, you're going to see the calendar of everything that we do, and how many sessions are going on. So definitely having that notification icon set up is going to do you wonders. As you see, we do have 2 sessions tomorrow, then Becky on Wednesday, then Jose with options on Thursday. So it's essentially you get a session just about every day. Obviously nothing on Friday, right, because it's Christmas. So thanks, Mark, and good to see you. So yeah, that's that, guys and gals. It's been my pleasure to present this session for you. If you have any questions or comments, please do feel free to either email it to me or just go to tradewithufos.com/Bojan, and you'll be able to get any sort of questions. As you see, there's a bunch of questions here that you can go and check out. So this is a really cool interactive way. So because there's a good chance that if you have a question that either somebody else has had that question, or that somebody else might have a question but is a little bit too shy post it, well then boom, they just go on here and they say, oh, this was already answered. That's where we get these time frames from, right? So definitely check it out. Let us know if there's anything else that we can do for you. All right, folks, thank you so much. It's been my pleasure. As I said, I hope you have a wonderful rest of the day. And since I won't see you until most likely the new year, have a happy holidays. Have a Merry Christmas to those of you celebrating Christmas, and then Happy New Year to everybody. I will catch you, I believe it is on, the 4th. So that will be the Monday in the new year. So I will see you next year. Thank you very much.